jump on into Sitecore Search. So I'm going to give a quick overview of Sitecore Search. I'll talk a little bit more about the history, the overview, of course, and then some of search features, use cases, and then finally, Eric is also going to do the demo for us and walk us through Sitecore's interface so you can see search firsthand. And then we'll also just do a quick demonstration of what Sitecore Search looks like on Sitecore.com, how they're leveraging it and some of the features there. So we can see it in action. All right. So Sitecore Search, I'll talk a little bit more about from an overview perspective what it is. It's a new composable SaaS product that Sitecore released as a new feature at this past symposium in 2022. And really, they're looking to expand their portfolio into the search product market so that they can make more of an exclusive and holistic offering, which really help them drive their presence within the Gartner report. So search is, again, that composable tool, and composable is the word of the day these days with Sitecore. Everyone, when they talk about Sitecore now, is talking about composable and the path that they're moving into with technologies like XM Cloud. And XM Cloud out of the box is going to leverage a search tool, and you're going to have search for that. So definitely considerations to have in mind. When we look at what would be out of the box from a base Sitecore instance, maybe a standard monolithic XP instance, you're going to be leveraging Sitecore's, not Sitecore, I'm sorry, but you're going to be leveraging Solar. And Solar it's powerful, it can be powerful, but it would take a lot of work to really expose or bring about those features that maybe particularly a client is looking for. Things like type ahead, boosted results. And that's really why a lot of these other tools come about. And, we see a more prevalence from things like SearchStax, Coveo, and now Sitecore Search. Angolia has been another one that's been fairly prevalent in the space as well. So really, why is search important? Really, search is important because you want to deliver relevant content, because ultimately the goal is going to be to help drive a conversion. Sitecore, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in the next slide, but their search product really had its infancy in the commerce market space. And really, the ultimate goal when you're in a commerce space is to drive your user not only to buy a product that you're delivering, but also hopefully show them relevant products that then would, of course, add to that sale. And the same goes for a content site. For many of the clients that we service as well, is that ultimately you want to drive a conversion. What does a conversion look like on a content site? Really, that's likely going to be driving them to maybe a contact us, or driving product awareness that's going to let them uncover more detail about what they're actually looking for. And what better way to do that than a search tool? So why choose Sitecore Search? Really, it's a newer product that's out there, and Sitecore themselves, we don't have a ton of implementations yet, but what we're seeing from them is that Sitecore Search is going to be a powerful tool. It's been a powerful tool since its inception. Sitecore Search, where it's new, the actual product itself isn't. Where I had mentioned it was leveraged originally as a tool with Sitecore called Discover. It was originally branded as Reflection. So Reflection was part of Sitecore's acquisition back in September 2021. And that was really part of Sitecore's venture capital investment, where they got either $1 billion or multiple billion investment from venture capitalists, where they were looking to really drive a lot of transformation from their single platform offering to what we see as a composable stack today. So I'd mentioned really Reflection's origin was in the e-commerce space. And really that was where they drove a lot of their product offering. And that was where Discover came about, which is leveraged only for Order Cloud at this time. And so what they're seeing is that they're going to be offering and delivering an agile approach to their delivery. And that's something that we're seeing with a lot of Sitecore's offerings now with XM Cloud, where we traditionally would see a delivery that could take maybe a year to a year and a half to have things like bug patches released, or maybe feature upgrades. We're going to see with these SaaS-based offerings like XM Cloud and even search, that they're going to have those in a more frequent basis, maybe every 3 months, because they're able to release that without having to do a full release like how we would have to deploy, since it's a SaaS-based offering. So when they rebuilt Search, they took all of their learnings from not only Reflection, which later become Discovery, and came up with this new product, which was Search. And they took all of those features that they found along the ways and said, hey, what would we do better? And then that was how they really came up with Search. So I'll talk a little bit more about the features and some of the features that were derived from not only the original product offering, but things that they incorporated into this particular offering. First thing that you'll see is that there are lightning fast results. If you go to sitecore.com, which we're going to demonstrate, they actually show what their search results timing is. And what you'll find is that they have sub 500 milliseconds. And, you know, although there's competitors out there like Coveo, maybe SearchStacks, we're not going to see results that are quite that fast. They've been able to really hone in on their speed. And when we talk about speed, I'll bring up time to market. Sitecore called out that when they did the implementation of search on their website, their time to market was really only a month. And delivering a customized MVP for a search product, a month is pretty good timing from iteration to release. So calling out speed as being time to market, I mean, that's really great, and that's what our clients are going to want to see. Quicker time to market also translates to cost. Without having a lengthier build time, that also saves and results in more cost savings for them. Some of the other features around intelligence are really AI learning. So they leverage AI learning for not only things like predictive results, which is going to be your type ahead and suggested results, but really AI is something that they've had baked in since Reflection. So it's something that they've honed in. It's not as new for them. They've been dealing with AI for some time, so it's not like our chat GPT of the day, where it's new. It's something that they've leveraged for quite some time. They also leverage multiple indexes. So not only can you set up a crawler to look at a single site, but you can crawl external sites too. Eric will quickly show us today just how easy it is to set up an index. We might not index a site, but we can at least touch on just how easy it is. And it's something that even a marketer would be able to do once they have some familiarity with the product. Some of the other features are around personalization. So multilingual is huge. Having a search product that you can do multilingual, that's a really big offering, as well as personalization. Personalization, they do this through a cookie-based approach. So like with a normal personalization approach with Sitecore, you might have a database where all that data is stored and then pulled and referenced. But really what it's able to do is it builds a cookie profile locally. And in looking at your profile, what it can do is look at trends that it's recognized, and then leverage those trends to show you, you know, a search duration or funnel that maybe a similar profile such as yourself has followed. So again, surfacing relevant content that's going to really drive awareness to what you're actually looking for. Some other really cool features that they're offering are boosted results, pin results, and buried results. And where those are going to be helpful is if maybe you have a PDF that you really want to make prevalent when a user is doing a search, you can then hone in on it. So maybe there's a funnel that you want to say, hey, when a search project, if someone is looking for Content Hub on my site, I really want to show these white papers first. So that's where boosting results or even pinning results is going to be very beneficial. A lot of times you'll see things like a 500 page potentially show up on results. And so being able to bury them is going to be extremely helpful as well. So you can bury results extremely easy, so that you can either make them so that they're not showing up at all, or you could make it so that they're very, very low on the list. So a lot of really great features that, again, help attribute to that quick time to market. And again, it's all configured right within the interface. So your code aspect is going to be fairly low, and your interaction within the interface is going to be high. So when would you want to leverage Sitecore Search versus Coveo? really Coveo is going to be a product offering where you're looking at a very large scale, very robust search capabilities. So really multiple crawlers, maybe things like that. That's where you're going to see a lot more benefit out of Site versus Sitecore Search. Search is going to be really a lot of your out of the box product offerings where you really want to intensify the search and be able to provide a better search experience, but maybe not to the extent that you would do with maybe like a Coveo product. And I think for these other 2 points, we've already covered off on quite a bit of those particular items. So with that, I think Eric, if you're good with it, I'll pass it over to you, and we can do the portal experience, and then I'll do a quick demo from Sitecore, and we can see it in action.
Yeah, sure, sounds great. Let me share my screen. All right, so I'm logged into the Sitecore search portal here, and I don't actually have this hooked up to a website yet. That's work in progress, but you can see the main page here would be your uh, dashboard of all your performance and all your analytics, page views, clicks, engagements, uh, based on, yeah, you have different widgets and pages, which we'll go through here in just a second. So just kind of walking through the overall UI quickly. We have pages, so you can set up multiple pages. So the default one is this, just like slash search. You might have a page for your news results or uh, anything else that you just want to focus on just one set of results, and you can customize what shows up on those pages independently of each other. Each of our pages have variations, and so we can schedule the traffic that goes to each variation, so we can do some A/B kind of testing and figure out which variation is helping drive our traffic better. Each of our pages have widgets, and the widgets are where you actually set all of your boost, bury, and pin kind of rules. So so when you're editing a widget, you're able to add rules, and you can add multiple different types of rules. You can apply different context, like apply a rule based on a page or different keywords, different visitor context, where they're coming from, which kind of device they're on. If it thinks they're a new user, referring URL where they came from. Lots of different ways to filter your visitors to a specific kind of experience. And so here are the boost berry rule kind of things that Josh was mentioning. So our results are either in a grid or in a list, but I can pin a certain set of results. So I can always have the newsroom appear in this slot, and it will always appear in slot number 3, no matter how you do your search or what other results appear. So that's kind of a nice feature. You can boost certain results, as Josh mentioned. So if you want certain ones to come up higher, you can also bury or blacklist. So you can bury or blacklist the 500 page either way. And blacklist, it just won't show up. Bury moves it lower on the list, and boost moves it higher on the list. Then we also have some other options here that I haven't played around with too much yet for how your results come back and how you can actually personalize these results. One of the really cool things that I have noticed about this search tool, about the personalization, is with the AI, it really does learn. And so if you're on a website that sells watches and purses and clothes and shirts and shoes, if you are browsing shirts, for example, and then you type in blue into the search box, it will give you blue blue shirts above blue purses or blue shoes, because it knows you've been browsing around the shirt section of the website. So that's a pretty cool feature of this tool. So that's our widgets, and there's a separate page where you can just get to just your widget settings. So here I only have one so far. This is what would be on the search results page, and then the preview search is the autocomplete suggestions. So you can set those up differently. Again, if you wanted to break this down by different sections, maybe your news section only does autocomplete for the related news articles. So you can set up multiples of these widgets. The analytics page, again, empty at the moment, but this is where you can dive in a little bit deeper on your conversion rates and views. This would show the pages that have had the most increase in traffic, the biggest decrease in traffic. But we'll be able to show more about that as I actually get this set up. On this global section, we have the global widget. This is inherited by all the other widgets. So if you want to set a rule that goes across all of your widgets, you can set it here. We also have synonyms, and so the system will let you add in synonyms for one thing or another. Healthcare with a space translates to healthcare without a space, for example. The catalog is where we can actually see our index items that have been indexed. Remember, this came from discovery, order clouds, product-based kind of system. So some of that terminology still exists. So we have a catalog and we have all of our documents that have been indexed. You can see the URL, where it came from, and the title of the page. If you click on one of these, you'll be able to see all of the attributes that have been indexed for this document. And so right now we just have a couple of fields, but working on adding some more. You can also click to see the individual statistics about one document in particular. You have your 1-day click rates, your 7-day, 15 and 30-day, 90-day click averages, things like that. It could be useful if you're wanting to see how your pages are interacting across the site, a different kind of way to get some analytics. I'm going to come back to the developer resources here in just a second. The administration section is where you would be able to add new attributes. So you can see there's a list of attributes here on the document I showed just a second ago. It doesn't have all of these yet, but in order to add new attributes on an indexed document, we'll go manage our sources. And this is what Joshua was saying, that you can add multiple websites. There's several different types of crawlers, connectors you can have. The one that you use most frequently is the advanced web crawler. And this is where you'll set your domain name. So we have proficient.com. I have it set right now to exclude some of these pages that Josh was mentioning. So you can either blacklist the 500 page, and you can also exclude it from matching certain pages. You can have it pull out different locales. So this is how you configure it for multiple languages. And so you would have one set of content getting indexed in one language and another. That way you only surface the correct language-based results. The triggers are how you tell the crawler what pages to go find. So in this example, I have one pointing at our sitemap on our proficient.com site. I have a JavaScript one that I told it to go find some pages specifically, and a request one that is still in progress would tell it specifically, here's this URL to go grab. The document extractors are how we actually pull out this content. So the main extractor, it's using JavaScript. There's a couple of different ways you can do it, XPath or with CSS. And so if I go and I look at this one here, you'll see that this is some JavaScript and there's prescribed ways how to do this, but here is one of the attributes, and then here's how Sitecore Search is going to go grab that information. And it has multiple levels. So it says for the description, I'm going to first find the meta description tag. And if I can't find that, I'm going to go look for the OG description meta tag. And if I can't find that, then I'm going to go find the first p tag, and the text of that p tag. So it's a really nice system where it can do these fallbacks. And then I had one that I'm working on here for the success stories page. It works a little bit differently. And so this one I'm doing with XPath. And so you'll see the same kind of thing here. Using an XPath expression, I'm grabbing my description from the same two fields, and it does them in order, and I can change the order. And the success stories have an eyebrow text. So here is my eyebrow text. Then I can use this in my search results to make my results appear different for this type of content. An interesting one here is type fixed. So if I go back and I look at my catalog, I would be able to see that I have some items that are tagged as a success story. So that will help us when we get to the point where we're trying to facet and filter, I would be able to have a facet on the content type, and I could filter by blogs, by success stories, by all the different types of content we have on our website. And then we can also set our scans on a frequency. So you can set whatever schedule you want for it to recrawl the site and update your index. Let me go back to the catalog just a moment, and then I can show here is my success story. So you can see this actually is, it's not quite right. I added an extra thing when I was working on some of my blog posts yesterday, so it over-indexed content. But you can see here one of my content types, success story. So I'd be able to filter on all of these separately from the website items. Onto the developer resources section, this will give you all the information about how to actually connect to the API. Here's your API key, the details about how to get to the endpoints. But the one I kind of want to show off right this second is the API Explorer. And so this would let you simulate and test out the calls that you would be making to the API. So I'm going to, in this first column is how you kind of set your criteria. So I'm picking my search results page. It automatically picks the one widget that I have on that page. You can set your limits and offsets, which we'll do in just a second. And healthcare is a pretty easy one on our website. So now I'm going to build this request, and you can see that this would be the API call that I would make. And if I were to run this call and look at the results, here are healthcare related results. You could also test your boost and bury rules from this screen as well to make sure that it's giving you the results you want. And while we can't actually see this on a page yet, you can start imagining what this would look like and how you would turn this into results. So you get back this JSON data, and then you build your UI that links to the URL and shows the description and has the title. So you can see here there were 26 items, came back with 10. So if I were to go and start playing with this, I could say, okay, here's my limit 10, and I want to offset by 10. You can see that those get added to my query. And if I run this, the first one here is modernize healthcare. And now I get the next page worth of results. So now you can start imagining how the pagination would work once you start building the UI. So that's a super quick tour of the UI. I'm still work in progress on getting this implementation complete, but feel free to follow along with my blog post series posted on our proficient.com website, and you can follow me along as I make progress on this. I know Joshua said about it took a month to do the implementation. I think once we get through this first one and you kind of work out some of the quirks, that I think we really should be able to do this implementation pretty fast once you understand how to set up the source and how to configure the attributes and how to do some of those things that aren't specifically called out in Sitecore's documentation. I think we'll be able to build this really fast. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's a really cool tool. So that's all. So turn it back over to Josh and we can check out sitecore.com.
All right. Thanks so much, Eric. Really great walkthrough. Thank you. All right. My portion will be very quick, and then we will transition on to the DX events. So really quickly, I wanted to share this. This is sitecore.com, and I was just going to quickly show what the search experience looked like. So we can see powered by search. I am honestly just going to hit search. So first off, we can see these are the relevant or related articles, which can be configured right from the interface that Eric was walking us through. But then I can pick what are some of the most relevant and searched. I'm just going to click search. And the really cool thing is we can see here all sites, results, and then it shows here the results were delivered in 166 milliseconds. So extremely fast. There's lots of facets that again are configurable right within the tool, and easy to search. The one thing I want to call out are these are some of the suggested or pinned results that they wanted to show. And a really cool thing that they're able to do with personalization is they gave us a toggle on the sitecore.com site that I wanted to show off. And if you click this red button right here, you can say personalized for you. So by clicking this toggle, you can see that the actual results themselves within this section are actually changing just based on the personalization. You can see that there was a boosted result here on e-commerce when I had that off, and it got buried. Some of the content changes. As I did a couple of other tweaks and searches, some of these search results here actually changed quite a bit, and they all completely changed. So wanted to call that out and just show off some of the how quickly things are actually returning. So if you want, dive in, play with sitecore.com a little bit, and you can see some of these features in action. Definitely encourage you to read Eric's blogs. I've got the Fireside podcast as well, and I have more recently had a couple of discussions with the product team there, so from Sitecore. So feel free to listen in if you want to hear more.